You're welcome back to Afia TV's conversation segment tonight. And we'll speak about President Tinubu, who has assured the Brazilian investors that Nigeria's ongoing economic reforms are delivering tangible results and boasting that there is no more corruption since he took office. The president made the statement during a meeting on Monday with ministers from both countries and members of the Brazil Business Group, where he reaffirmed Nigeria's readiness to strengthen partnerships in technology transfer, food security, manufacturing, and renewable energy. And President Tinubu described Nigeria's economic landscape as a vast, untapped market full of opportunities for Brazilian companies. And he also acknowledged that the reforms he's implemented were initially painful, but today the result is blossoming. According to him, reforms includes the removal of fuel subsidies and the liberalization of the foreign exchange market. He says, and I quote, "It's getting clear to the people we have more money for the economy and no more corruption," unquote. However, in a damning U.S. public records obtained by the West Africa Weekly Report, it has revealed that Nigeria's Federal Capital Territory Minister, Nyesom Wike, secretly acquired a $2 million Florida mansion in March, registering it under the names of his children, Joachim, Jasmine, and Jordan, and his wife, Justice Eberichi Wike. Records also shows that Justice Wike is a registered member of the U.S. Democratic Party, potentially placing her in violation of Nigeria's Judicial Code of Conduct. To make sense of all of this, and joining us right now is Henry Chibuzor, a social commentator and a political strategist. Good evening, Mr. Henry, and welcome back to Afia TV.
Yeah, good evening, and thank you for having me.
It's good to have you. I'd like for you to make some sense here for me, because it does seem like maybe when our leaders see some of these people, they become very overly excited. And some people would, make allusions to sort of promises that maybe people just make when they're very excited, and they just, talk and make all sorts of statements. This is not peculiar to the Tinubu's administration. We've always seen it over and over. Statements from the president and maybe his people, but this very shocking headline, they have, made Nigerians wonder what's going on when the president himself is saying that there's no more corruption ever since he took over office and we have more money. Could you give us your perspective on that?
Well, I think the president said what he feels should be in his best interest to say, given the fact that he's the chief marketer of the country, especially when it comes to marketing the investment opportunities in the country. He's going to talk about the things that will convince the people to be able to invest in Nigeria. So, however he goes about it, is still subject to the verification of the audience that he spoke to. I believe that Nigerians should not just make any assumptions about that. The people he was talking to are not foolish people. If they were foolish, they wouldn't have made the kind of money they have made, and we will not be looking towards them to come and invest here. I feel the real factor here is that back home we should be telling ourselves the truth, and we should also re-examine. If we begin to normalize the situation that we all know that is abnormal, then there is a whole lot for us to be worried about. I believe that every average Nigerian knows the situation here. We don't need to belabor ourselves with all that. For a foreigner who may not likely understand the import of the entire policies of the government, I feel they will not bring their money without due diligence, without serious investigation of the claims of the president. So I'm not bothered about that. The administration will have to prove to them that what they have said is true or not. So that's basically, maybe that's one of the reasons why most of the missions, the investment missions that the government have carried, have not been able to yield much results. So we look forward to, if that will make it fly, let's see. But I'm not optimistic about it anyway.
Let's talk about the reforms that he spoke about here, and he talked about the removal of fuel subsidies and the liberalization of the foreign exchange market. And he's been very optimistic that these policies have really worked for Nigeria. As a people, do you think that these policies really worked for us or against us?
Well, given the fact that the World Bank reports, which all of us could reference, have shown that over 120 million Nigerians have been pushed into poverty by the fact of this policy we are talking about here. I don't know how anybody is going to convince all of us that this policy had really worked for the good majority of the people. Well, it depends on the segment of the society you are talking about. If you are talking about those who are in government, those who have access to the finances of government, maybe that's working for them. But a large percentage of the people are still groaning under the pangs of the harsh economic reality that we are facing. Obviously, those who are in power do not seem to have a feel of what the ordinary man is going through, and this is just the reality. And nobody can say anything about it because it's only he who wears the shoe that knows where it pinches.
Right. So speaking about the very few in government who may be, seeing that kind of money and, having that kind of wealth, I'd like to talk about the U.S. public records that have been obtained by a West Africa Weekly. That's a report that's been trending, all week long about the FCT Minister Nyesom Wike acquiring secretly a $2 million Florida home. And very worrying also is his wife, Justice Ebere Chinwike, who reports also show that she's a registered member of the U.S. Democratic Party. Could you make some sense out of all of that? And if the president is saying that there's no more corruption, where did Minister Wike get the sort of money that he has made? Because if we begin to look at his salary, we're not so sure he'll be able to afford that sort of house, and he's buying it secretly in Florida. Could you just give us your perspective on all of that?
I look at all this as so amusing, given the fact that you were here when there was a news break concerning the misappropriation of trusts, of public trusts, in the fact that it was alleged that Minister Wike allocated some high size of land that worth billions to his son. Up to today, irrespective of the public outcry and the outrage in society, back home here, nothing has happened. Are we going to talk about what is in the US? What is the value of that to compare with the property that was in contest that people have talked about here that we couldn't do anything about? Is it the one in the US that we want to talk about? The entire thing, the entire system, the entire gamut of our society is seriously in need of help. We really need something that can turn around the situation. This is just one of so many. Wike is just singled out maybe because of the controversies around him. There are quite a lot of them that can you show me any Nigerian politician that can clearly explain the wealth that he has amassed over the years? None. The truth is that none of them. So it's just something that the public know. Those who have made this money know. Those who haven't made this money are also aspiring to have the opportunity to make it. So we are beginning to normalize an abnormality that we all agree is against us. So I feel that those who are doing this are not seeing the future. They are not looking at the greater good of the entire people. So, and it is really sad that this is happening. This kind of revelation is coming at a time that the president is saying that there is no more corruption. It's really sad, and what an irony. I really feel that Nigerians should really sit up and know what is required of them.
An irony indeed, because I was just about asking what is actually wrong with the Nigerian people. Does seem like they've been hypnotized. So these stories keep coming out over and over again, and nobody's saying anything about it. Nobody's taking to the streets to say we want accountability. What exactly can Nigerians do at this point? Because these few people as the leaders seem to be more than over 200 million people.
Yeah, it's sad that the greater majority of the people seem to have succumbed to the influences and powers of these guys. Unfortunately, this is the reality we are facing. And very unfortunately, too, is that the people who maybe by sheer patience of the people have amassed so much wealth are not even looking the way of the people that have trampled on their foot, and they're even planting this loot all over them. So I don't know, maybe someday, somehow, when Messiah will come, who is going to clean the urgent table? I don't know how that's going to happen.
We wait for that day indeed. But we have to stop the conversation here and, of course, follow up on all of these statements, especially by the president, and, see if there will be some sort of investigation into Minister Wike and his high-handedness in government. A lot of people have complained about it. And, of course, the funds that have gone missing. Thank you so much, Mr. Henry Chibuzor, for joining in tonight.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.
That's all we have for you tonight, right here on Afia TV News. And do follow us on all our social media platforms at Afia TV Official. On behalf of the entire production team, I am Amazing Grace Ajayi. Thank you so much for watching, and good night.